Good morning and welcome to Shamanic Sundays. Good to be here with you all. Good to be here with you today, Dad,
Thank you.
and our relatives out there in the world. Thank you for joining us. And we have special guest Wendy Taylor with us today, who we all just got back from Vision Quest last night. Your 51st year of leading Quest and Wendy's first Quest. And Wendy is a therapist and yoga teacher, and she has a new nickname. We call her Mighty Might. And she said, as we were saying goodbye at Quest yesterday, she said, "I'll see you tomorrow on Shamanic Sundays." And I said, "Well, why don't you join us?" So we're really happy to have you here with us. And thanks for joining us.
Honored to be here, that you asked me to be here.
Thank you.
She didn't ask me to be here. She just told me to be here.
You do what she says. She's the boss.
Do you want to start with a morning prayer?
Yeah.
Lots to be grateful for today.
Well, tell me about her. It's unbelievable. The time spent out in the desert.
A little louder.
The time spent out in the desert and the purity of the desert and the day and the purity of the sky, the clear stars and seeing and feeling the earth breathe in this beautiful primal place. It's and opening to the powers and spirits are there. So it's still pouring through me, just pouring through. So gratitude, what does that all come to mean in terms of experiencing being alive right now in this moment? Gratitude to you, Creator, who gives us this breath of life. If it was up to us to make that, we'd be in trouble. But fortunately, we have the gift of grace of you giving us the gift of life through the breath. So thank you for that gift, and our families and our ancestors and the ancestors where we live, and the sacred powers that you give expressing through nature from above and below and around and in the center through you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to join our hearts and minds and spirits through what has been called Shamanic Sundays, but Kimmy might in the future talk about whatever she wants to talk about. So thank you, Great Spirit, for you. Thank you right now. And may you use our joining to help us open our hearts to the light and love that you place inside of us through grace and send it out into the world for healing of hearts and minds and spirits in the sacred hoop. May it be so. Oh.
Thank you. A little collision with the microphone there for a second.
Could be worse.
So we thought this morning, tied in with Vision Quest, we would talk about finding your way. Because oftentimes we feel lost in the world. Well, I'll just speak for myself. I often feel lost in the world, and I have my tools for reconnecting and finding my way. And Wendy, that seemed like something that you might want to share a little bit with about that for you.
Yeah.
Does that bring up anything for you?
Yeah. Well, it's very appropriate, finding your way. Because as you know, one reason I want to do this same thing, Kimberly, is just finding your way in the world. I wanted to gain more confidence and really be with spirit and nature and listen. And as you know, I got lost 2 times pretty badly, and it was really scary, and I had shame and wasn't expecting that. And it was part of the whole experience, and I did find my way. I had help the first time, and then the second time I listened to the advice I got the first time, which Andrew, who was on the quest, found me and said, instead of freaking out and, just calm down, feel your breath, ground. And that's what I did. And I did find my way. And it was really, I had lessons before my solo time even started.
You did. Yeah. And I just want to honor too, your courage in coming out on Quest with us, because you called me and said, "Hey, I'm interested in going, but I don't know if this was the exact word you used, so pardon the misquote or correct me if I'm wrong, but you said, I'm pretty terrified." So why did you decide that you wanted to go on Quest?
I wanted to challenge myself in a way that I never had before. As you know, I've never even set up a tent. I joke I'm like Private Benjamin over here, like without the attitude. But I'm a city girl. I've been camping a couple of times, and I felt this real, when I saw it on Facebook, I like literally something in my body was like, do this. And it's something that in the past I was like, oh, that sounds awful. And
well, now you're like, I know it's awful.
And I almost backed out a couple of times being alone in nature is, especially when you've lived in cities all your life. And I just felt like I want to challenge myself in a way that I never have before. I've been traveling by myself. I've done medicine ceremonies, but this was something completely different. And I felt like, as I said in the show, I wanted to feel a bit more like a badass, and I do. But talking to you helped. Talking to Tomas helped. My friend Jody Stein helped, who I talked to as well. And I just felt take the risk.
Well, we're super grateful you did. Super grateful you did. And Dad, you were talking about, you were starting to say something to Wendy about the feeling of being lost. And I said, let's bring it back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're taking a wild risk that I remember.
Yeah.
Well, let me just open up and tune in.
Yeah.
Well, hush up, girl. Open the door, don't slam the door on me. You jolted me out of what I was going to say.
Wait, while you're thinking,
we're all recovering.
I can't take her anywhere. Okay, I got it.
Okay, good.
All right, getting lost. Who of us haven't gotten lost? Who of us gotten lost? And getting lost has to do with we've lost our orientation, our sense of understanding about where we are located. And we've lost that on whatever level of our being. And so that ego gets really frightened and reactive about that, because that's its base of security. If I don't know everything, then it's out of my control, and that freaks it out. So getting lost it's not easy on the ego because of what it triggers. It gives us opportunity, and it's actually an energy force. It's like trying to push out, saying you've been dreaming too small about who you are. You've been dreaming too small about what's possible. You've been living too tight a container of belief about who you are and what's possible and what reality is. And so this is pushing against the boundaries of that, and that's why ego's freaking out. And that's like a fire. It feels like a pressure. It's like it can be burning or pushing, or however it manifests somatically. It's a powerful energy. And basically what that energy is coming from is from what we chose to call great-grandmother growth, the Kutsi Knockaway. And now we're a couple of days or a week in the spring. So she's given that her life force energy full blast from her womb through her up into Mother Earth and into us and into birth and the new life. So getting lost is a good thing. It's like just not knowing the answer to something, for me, is a good thing, because if I admit I don't know, which is true, a lot of times I don't know. So the good news about that is, instead of shaming myself for creating some story that creates suffering and pain for myself, that I'm a bad person or a failure because I don't remember. It's not just, I don't know. The truth is, in this given situation, I don't know. So if I want to answer, it goes back to your vision, quest, experience. The presence, the underlying ground presence that's always here, that says to us, I have all the answers you need. You just need to listen to me more. So going out on the vision quest, opportunity for all of us, and it takes courage. And so honor your courage. The more fear there is, the more it strengthens the courage muscle, like you did, Wendy, by facing your fear. Inspiration to all of us. So you can't if you want to get stronger on a spiritual level, and you've been lifting 5-pound weights, and you keep lifting 5-pound weights, the muscle's not going to get any stronger. You got to put more weight on there to force the muscle, get the muscles to bring up more energy to do the work. And so you're strengthening yourself on all levels of your being, and you're polishing your stardust to be able to show up more in your authenticity, your integrity, the power that can come through any of us when we open consciously to the connection that's always there with the powers from above and below and around and in the center. So that's a rebirth. It's you can't get found if you don't get lost. Get found opening to a deeper consciousness of who I am, what I am, why I'm here, how I'm interconnected with an infinite field of energy that's divine, that's creative, that's essence is love. Oh. And get that without getting lost, because getting lost means the ego finally got busted, opened up to, whoa.
Does that resonate for you, Wendy, with your experience?
Absolutely. And it was deep, because it's one thing, I've gotten lost before, but to get lost alone in the desert, and the first time the sun started, I felt like the sun was going to come down soon.
It was heading down.
Yeah. And so I think, one of the things you said, Tomas, is facing our fear of death. And so that felt, it wasn't like, oh, I can't find my car. This was like, what if no one finds me? What if, and then I realized there was someone else in the quest that they were looking for, because she fell asleep. And it's because they were looking for her, I think, that they found me. And I just kept saying, like, please, spirit. But in there was like real fear, and I like genuine, and like you said, Tomas, to face that, to stand in that fear, because we really don't know when we're going to die. And I definitely feel stronger because of it. In a way, it's a lesson that I've never felt so deeply before.
Yeah, it reminds me and speaks to the Joseph Campbell's notion of the hero's journey.
Right.
This is the basic dynamics of the hero's journey that you're talking about and you went through.
Yeah. And I just bringing it home to all of our relatives out there. There's some comments in the chat around getting lost and finding a new reality, and what you're talking about, and gravity keeping us here. And yet, while we are here, we know that there's a purpose for each of us as part of this interconnected ecosystem. So you're absolutely not lost. You're exactly right where you need to be, but keeping that faith and that sense strong when you're in a panic moment or a down moment, or feeling, the doors shut around you, and, you're not sure what path to go and how to find your way. So can you, Wendy, again, share some of the things that helped you in the moments, to like when you felt that panicky feeling coming in, like what helped you reconnect and reach out?
Well, honestly, the first time when the sun was going to go down, I really did have panic. I kept going back to spirit, but I was pretty panicky. Yeah. And then I saw dear Andrew and Buddha the dog, and it was like literally the best sight I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But his advice, like the lesson, I like learned the lesson the first time, because then I got lost the next day, even though I tried really hard, right, to pay attention.
Wait, I'm just going to pause there for a second, because that's pretty amazing. Like, just a testament to your courage and your commitment to strengthening your wayfinding muscles, that your first day you had this experience of being lost. And then the next day you're like, I'm going to go out and do it again by myself. I'm going to find my way. I'm going to track back, and then I'm going to do it again. So you were like building that muscle, it was really impressive.
That's why she's the mighty might.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, you said that you could go with me, and I really did think about that and check in. Like, is this about ego, about not wanting to come, or is this about wanting to learn? Maybe it was a little bit of both, but I think it was more about wanting to learn. When I got lost the second time, it was a lesson there, because I did start to freak out. And then I remembered what Andrew said, and I did it. I stopped. I grounded myself. I started to breathe, and I was like, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And then I decided to go back to base camp to ask for help. I felt a lot of shame, but I was like, I don't want to lose base camp again. When I got lost the second time, I lost my backpack and my spot. I put my backpack down to go find my spot, and then I also couldn't find my backpack. So as soon as I did that, I decided to go back to base camp, and then I found my backpack, which gave me the strength to be like, okay.
Wait, how symbolic is that, right? I decided to go back to base camp. Like, what are your baseline things in your life? Each of you, all of us, like when you're feeling lost, go back to your base camp, and then you're going to find your backpack that has the tools that you need, right?
You're right.
carry it forward.
You're on a roll.
Well, Wendy was on a roll.
Yeah.
We're on a roll.
But we all have that, right? We all have, what's our base camp? We can all ground, we can all center, we can all take a deep breath, whatever is going on with the blessing of still being alive. We can go back to that. So you go back to your base camp. And then you think, what do I have in my backpack? Like, where's my backpack? What tools have I cultivated in this moment of feeling lost? Right. So it's not just a physical backpack, but a symbolic backpack.
Absolutely.
You found your backpack, and then tell us what happened.
Well, and I think it was also surrendering the ego, because the reason I didn't want to go back to base camp, because then it was during the day. So I wasn't like, I didn't have that fear of like, dying, but I was the ego. Like, I don't want to go and be like, I need help. And when I was like, I do need help, it's okay. And that's when I found the backpack.
Yeah.
Surrendering the ego.
That's excellent. We all need help. So then you go to your family, your community.
Yeah. And I realized too that the judgment that I was going to face wasn't from you all, it was my own. And that was also helpful. I was like, they're not, that I found it, and that gave me the strength to be like, okay, let's keep going. Let's see. And I just missed, there was one other like hill that I didn't go over, and I saw the hill and I was like, just try going over this one more hill to see, maybe it's there. And sure enough, I saw my stuff.
Wow.
That just like another great symbol, right? I didn't even realize like how great this was going to be, because there's always like another hill. Okay, I got my toolkit. Now I got to face another hill. Am I going to have the courage and the fortitude and the humility to ask for help, and the love for myself to not let the self-judgments and shame stop me from trying to walk over that next hill? Yes, Poppy.
Yeah. So you did that because you have a growth orientation. You want to grow. And that's the vibrancy of life in you that like doesn't want to be shut down. It scares the shit out of me, but I feel that life force. So great grandmother growth, gracias, and your courage acting on it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why, I don't think you would go on this if you don't want to grow, because, it's challenging, right? It's, and at Kimberly, I mean, you've been doing this since you were like 13. I'm just so impressed with you. I can't even imagine what it would be like to do that at that age. Would you mind sharing just a little bit about that? I mean, you've been doing this. I mean, that's just so incredible. At 13, you had to be like, I want to grow my spirit. Like,
Yeah, no, I wasn't quite thinking like that. I was more like, my dad's going on an adventure in the wilderness, and I love being back in the wilderness, and I want to go, and I don't want to miss out on it. And it was terrifying. And honestly, like, even though I've gone so many years now, I still am terrified every time I go. Like, you just don't know what you're going to face, what animals, weather conditions, physical things going on, group dynamics, your own just stuff that comes up. So I've never gone on quest not being scared. This morning and last night, like, and as we were heading back last night, I just felt so much gratitude that everybody made it back safely, and that, had such powerful, wonderful experiences. So, I just, and just again, bringing it back home for everyone here today, that every day, last week, we talked about life as a quest, and, some days are easier than others, of course. But it's pretty common to have these moments of feeling lost or terrified. What am I doing? Where am I going? Am I doing the right thing? How should I handle this situation? And just the tools that we've been talking about today are just so incredibly valuable. So I just feel so grateful that you're sharing that. And I just want to invite everyone for just a second to just take a breath and close your eyes and just envision something in your life that you're facing right now that you feel a little lost with, and that you need some wayfinding support. And just breathe into that for a minute. And if nothing comes to mind, then you can just, hang with us, because there'll probably be some moment in the future where you'll come across this, if not now. Yeah. And then just again, remembering as you're facing that, the invitation to put out there, to do this with me, Wendy and Poppy. Ground, right? Taking a deep breath. Reminding yourself of your incredible backpack of tools that you have that can help you find your way. And sometimes that backpack may feel smaller or bigger or heavier or lighter. But you're here today, so you've definitely built up a backpack of tools. And then deciding to go back to base camp. Like, what's your basis? What are the strengths that you know you have? That even if they don't feel as strong as other days, they're in there. So what are your values? What are your strengths? What tools do you have? Going back to your base camp. Your feet on the earth, feeling the gravity, seeing the plants grow, the sun coming up. Going back to your community of people that can be the other people at your base camp to reach out to for support. What else did we talk about? Finding your way.
What a glorious opportunity it is, and being alive to find our way.
Yeah.
And we have, you speak several times about tools. We have tools to help us find our way through our senses, our eyes, through our bodies, our feelings, through our ears,
our hearts,
what we feel in our hearts and our souls. We're living in a sea of infinite energy vibrating in different wavelengths and manifestations and forms and shapes and relationships, and it's all energy, and it's all information, and it's all part of the flow of divine creative energy of the universe. So opening up to it is life, and giving us the opportunity to work with it about what do we want to create as an experience for ourselves right now with the power of our focused mind and the energy that Spirit gives us. And may it be that the fruits of the inner work that we all do help with working with great grandma growth energy to blossom, fullest blossom and greatest good of our potentials for joy, health, and happiness, prosperity in all levels, and showing up to share our gifts in the world with the intention of healing the sacred hoop, which we're capable of healing as long as we're alive and breathing. Amen. A woman.
A woman.
All beings.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share, Wendy, for folks out there in our community?
I wanted to share the power of nature. I've never experienced in this way. And, talk about being held. I definitely feel held by my dear community and dear friends and dear partner. But to feel held by nature, like even when I was scared, I was also just in complete awe and humbled. And I feel like nature is the wisest thing ever. And like you said, Kimberly, and what you said is also what inspired me to do it, is to listen. And we are so right now, especially more than ever, right, with our phones, with the news, with everything coming in, to stop and listen to nature is, the wisdom and the beautiful silence. Like for me, it wasn't an empty silence. It was like a full silence, a beautiful silence.
Wow.
And the animals, so powerful. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, such a good reminder to create space to listen to what can be heard in the silence, and to connect with, like you said, our greatest teacher out there, the wisdom of nature, for sure. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And we also, I want to assure you that we did carry you in our prayers, our community here, Shamanic Sundays community. We brought you into our prayers and circle around the fire. And so, yeah, you were there with us, and we're glad to be with you here today. Anything else, Pops?
Carry it on.
Carry on.
Wake up. Wise up. Live, love,
Yeah.
Look
live,
at Wendy's t-shirt.
live.
Oh, and you were reading
Yeah.
Tom's
Oh,
book,
this
right?
I read. Yeah, I want to plug. I read this on my solo. It's amazing. Whoops, this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't pay her to say that, by the way.
No,
Yeah.
I'm genuinely. I wouldn't do this, so I didn't really absolutely love it. Really. Yeah. Reading about your life, Tomas, and then just it's so inspiring.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'd say when all when you're at your computer and you're hearing the news and you feel that overwhelmed, take a moment, take a breath, go out and take a walk.
Yeah.
Hey.
Good.
Yeah.
I just see a comment about chatting with an AI is actually helping me, and I just want to share that with a lot of the big tech titans out there, and the questionability of some of their ethics and care. Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn, and he started an AI called Pi.ai. So you just type in pi.ai, and his intention with that is to actually help code in ethics and kindness, and so that there would be guidance that is like toward love and life and inclusivity, rather than just data coming back at you. So just had to give that a little plug as we integrate back into the digital web and the real web. So
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you again for joining us on Quest. Wendy, I'm so proud of you. Enjoy your warm showers in your bed.
In bed.
Thanks for sharing, being open and vulnerable with your experience, so we could all learn together from you and with each other.
And I know you're enjoying your old man too.
I sure am.
Yeah,
All
thanks,
right.
I'm older than him. I'm the old woman. He's the young man.
Everyone, have a great week. Send us questions if you've got any, and we'll see you next week.
Hey.
Take
Thank
care.
you so much.